so hard to know that my daddy murdered all these people. My heart is breaking. I feel so ashamed. I just can't believe my daddy took so many lives. So many lives. My daddy told me that there were a lot more, but nobody would never find them. People come up and ask me, well, who is your daddy? And I always say, my daddy was Pee Wee Gaskins. He was a mass murderer. He was also my daddy, and I loved him. Most people only know the bad parts about Dad. No one really knows he was a good father. He was loving, he was understanding, and he always wanted what was best for me. At the same time, my father was evil. He was evil. I mean, anybody that can do what he did was evil. This is myself when I was about 6 years old. My daddy wasn't really too much a part of my life when I was small because he was in and out of prison. I don't know why. I would ask Mom, where's my daddy? Why isn't he here? And my mama always said, your daddy's away and, he'll come back one day. But she never told me that my dad was in prison. She never told me any negative about my dad. I was very happy at this time, very happy. I never dreamed I would have to go through what I did. A little town called Prospect, South Carolina. Very first thing I remember about my daddy. My dad came to the house and, I was excited to see him because I hadn't seen him in a long time. I remember him going in our house telling Mama to get me and get in the car. I didn't know what was happening. So, we got in the car and then he locked the doors. But before we could leave, cops pulled in and surrounded him.
Donald Gaskins, stop right there.
They just come flying in there with their guns drawn and was telling Daddy to get out.
Please exit the vehicle with your hands up.
That's when I noticed that Daddy had a gun. He was holding the gun towards my mama and telling my mama not to move.
Donald, what's going on?
Honey, just stay here. Don't move.
I was terrified. I kept holding on to my mama, begging her, I want to get out, Mama, I want to get out.
Daddy, what's happening?
Just be quiet now. Everything's gonna be okay.
Kept saying, baby, don't scream, don't say nothing, just sit here. Mama's with you. It's gonna be all right. The law enforcement kept talking to him, asking him to please let us go. And, he kept saying, no, I'm not gonna let him go. You tell me I can leave.
You gotta trust me. Your daddy ain't gonna let nothing happen to you.
Finally, after a couple of hours, he did let me out. He released my mama, and when Mama got out, they just covered the car and drug him out of the car. It was a horrible feeling, seeing him, throw him on the ground and handcuff him. I was crying, I was begging Mama, please don't let him hurt him. And they put him in the back of the police car. I asked Mama what they're doing to Daddy, and she said, baby, he did something wrong. Now they got to punish him. Just like when you do something wrong, you have to be punished. He He went to prison for a long, long time, and I didn't see him anymore until I was in the 3rd grade. But Mama never told me why he was running from them. Nobody ever told me why. There's a lot of memories behind this picture. This was the year that the children was picking on me and making fun of me because I didn't have a dad. But then my dad got to come home. I was so happy that my daddy was back. I could go to school and tell everybody who bullied me. I remember one specifically day that my dad and I was outside playing ball, and I was really upset because the kids had been really, really mean to me that day.
Honey, is there something bothering you?
No.
He kept saying, "What's wrong?" And I'd keep saying, "Nothing, Daddy." I didn't want to tell him because I didn't want him, to feel bad or anything.
I know when something's bugging you, and I think this is the time.
It's the other kids at school.
He said people's making fun of me at school. They're picking on me, making me cry. He said, "Wait just a minute, baby." He said, "We'll fix that."
You wait right here, okay? I got just the thing.
So he went to the car, and I remember him coming back, and he had a loaded pistol.
You take this.
What's this for?
And he gives it to me. And he tells me to take it to school with me, and if they kept on picking on me, to pop a cat in them.
Next time those kids bug you, you show them this piece.
He showed me how to release the safety, and he said, just point it and shoot. He just told me to go hide it, and don't tell my mama.
You hide that under your pillow, and she won't find it there.
I wanted to do what my daddy told me to do, but yet I knew that it was wrong. It kept bothering me. I mean, I can't do this. I can't do this. I said, I gotta tell my mama. She was furious, and she calls the cops, and they come and pick the pistol up. I really don't remember what they did with Daddy, but I didn't see him for a long time. He got out of prison when I was 15. I was married, and I was fixing to have my first child. I thought, well, maybe he's changed. He's going to stay out this time. But that's the very first time I've ever seen my daddy do anything to hurt me. I've always loved pets. I've always loved animals all my life. I did have some cats.
Tabby!
I never put two and two together that, he was killing them. But every time he would come, my cat would disappear.
Tabby, where are ya?
We couldn't find him.
Have you seen Tabby anywhere?
Afraid not.
I was sad, but he said, they don't need to be in the house. Animals are supposed to be in the yard.
That's so strange. She hadn't been around all that.
He could not stand cats.
Probably outside where it belongs.
But I didn't know why my cats would disappear till years later. Now, as I look over the years, it could have been that he just needed to kill that cat instead of going out and killing somebody else.
Oh my God, what happened?
People started coming to the house and just disappearing. They never was seen again. This picture was my daddy, myself, and my cousin Janice Faye. And that was my daddy's sister daughter. We were pretty much the same age, and we were best friends. We just hang around the house and talk girl talk. We told each other everything. When I had my baby, she came and stayed with me to help me out. My daddy and Janice Faye was always close. You know, I can't imagine him ever wanting to hurt her. One afternoon, my Aunt Inez and Uncle Lamar came to my house, and they asked me, had I seen Janice? Was she at my house?
Hey, y'all, what a surprise. Daddy's not here right now, but if you want to come in.
Actually, Shirley, looking for Janice. We were hoping she was here with you.
And I told them no, that I hadn't seen Janice. She said, well, Janice had been missing for 3 days.
We haven't seen her or heard from her for the past few days. We were thinking maybe she ran away.
I don't think Janice would do that.
Her friend Patricia was missing with her. They were both missing. I was worried because, I hadn't heard anything.
You'll let us know as soon as you hear from either of them, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
So I started asking people had they seen Janice, and no one had seen Janice.
Hey, honey.
When my daddy came over that weekend, I asked my daddy, I said, have you seen Janice?
You heard about Janice? No one's heard from her in a few days.
I've heard you.
But he showed no emotions. And he said, no, he said,
Now, nobody had seen her. Could be she just ran away.
but I knew Janice didn't run away from home. Janice wasn't that kind of girl. She would not have worried her mom and daddy like that.
I know something's not right. Janice wouldn't do something like that, Dad. Not without telling me first.
And if Janice Faye would have run away, she would have come to my house. That's how close we were.
Wherever she is, I'm sure she's doing fine.
Weeks turned into months. No word from Janice. Nobody knew where she was.
Now, let me go see my granddaughter.
Law enforcement said it had to be a runaway. They labeled it as a runaway. Years later, they found Janice Faye in a shallow grave down in Prospect, South Carolina, and they found Tricia Albrook in a septic tank in Sumter. Daddy had murder in both. At this moment, just looking at my daddy and Janice Faye, it makes me angry. I try to block it out. I'm angry, sad, all in 1 minute. It was very hard to think my daddy had done it was evil. Nobody wants to believe that their parent is evil. We moved to a little place called Roper's Crossroads, and I had 2 more children. Daddy was living in Charleston this time. That's when all the people started disappearing. One afternoon, Daddy came to my house, and he brought this woman and baby, which was Doreen and her daughter Robin. They were friends of my daddy's.
Hey, Shirley. Can I ask you a favor?
I fixed them all something to eat, and he was telling me his house had just burnt down, and he said he had nowhere to stay at the time.
Well, Doreen and Robin are in a bit of a tough spot right now. They need a place to stay.
I didn't have enough room for everybody because my kids shared 1 bedroom, and there was my husband and
I don't know. I mean, the kids are already sharing 1 room. I don't know if we've got the space for 2 more people.
I told my daddy that I just did not have room for Doreen and the baby, that there was just not enough room.
Yeah. Okay.
He said, well, go ahead and give Robin a bath and put some clothes on her. I'll take her and Doreen to a friend's house, and they can stay there until, we can do better.
You go get the baby cleaned up. I'll talk to Doreen.
Okay.
I put her in the bathtub, and I dressed her in my daughter's little pink sunsuit. I remember telling her I was sorry that I didn't have enough room, and she said she understood. Her and Daddy left.
Hi, Daddy.
Hey, sweetheart.
And he was gone for about 2.5 hours, and when he come back, I said, Daddy, where did you take Doreen?
Did you find a place for Doreen and the baby?
Yep, we did.
He said, just to a friend's house. I said, well, who was it?
Which friend?
No one you know.
Oh,
I was raised as a little girl. When an adult tells you something, you accepted what they said. I believed him. I never seen Doreen and the baby again. This is Doreen and her baby Robin. I haven't seen these pictures in a very long time. She was such a beautiful baby. I am so angry with my daddy for doing such an awful thing to this baby. I just feel like, why did they have to go so young? I still feel guilty. I mean, right now, in my heart, I feel like that I'm the reason that they're not here anymore. Why didn't I let them stay with me? Late one night, my daddy came over.
Oh, hey, Shirley.
I went to give him a hug, and I seen that there was blood all over his hands.
oh my God, what happened?
I mean, there was a lot of blood on his hands. I mean, his hands was covered in blood. And I said, are you hurt, Daddy? And he said, no. I said, well, what's that blood doing on your hands?
It's okay. I hit a deer.
He proceeded to say that the deer run out in front of him, and he hit the deer, and I had to drag it off the road.
That's an awful lot of blood.
Yeah. Guess it was dark. So dark I didn't see it.
And around where I stay, deer run out in front of you all the time, and I have hit a couple myself.
Well, do you want me to wash those for you?
No. I'll take care of it at home.
He said, I got to get back home. I got to work in the morning. I'm going to throw these clothes away.
Oh, well, let me walk you out.
Okay.
But it's kind of hard to believe that you hit a big deer, that it's not going to mess up your vehicle. But, I never questioned Daddy. I just figured, that's what he said, so I guess that's what happened. I asked my daddy, why did he do this? And he would say that every so often he just had that urge to see blood. He had to see blood. My husband and my daddy, they got along real good. They were very good friends. One day, him and my husband was outside, and he told my husband, he said, let's go kill a deer.
What, right now?
Yeah, right now.
My husband said, are you sure you want to go kill a deer? And Daddy said, yeah, let's go kill a deer. He said, I just want to see some blood.
Got the guns?
People back in South Carolina, go hunting all the time. That's nothing unusual.
Come on. This'll be fun.
He was very excited when they got that deer. He was just having a great time doing that. Years later, when I went to see him in prison, he would say that every so often he just had that urge to see blood. He couldn't be still till he seen blood. Walter Neely was my daddy's best friend, and Walter used to come down to my house with my daddy a lot. Well, it was one night, Daddy and Walter came up, and these two boys came up with them. Johnny Knight and Dennis Bellamy, they were half-brothers. I'd never seen them before. I didn't know at the time, but he had a theft ring going on. They would steal the cars and bring them to my house and hide them. I came out, and I started talking to Daddy.
How's it going?
It's going fine.
And Daddy said that he was just buying cars to fix them up, to sell them, to make extra money.
You boys ready to wrap it up?
It was getting dark. And Daddy said, well, we got to go somewhere. We got some things we got to do. And they left. About 12:30, Daddy came back by the house.
Hey, Daddy, what are you doing here?
Hey, honey, I didn't mean to wake you.
I said, well, where's the boys? He said, they've already gone back. They drove one of the cars back to Charleston. I remember seeing blood on his hands. And I asked him, I said, Daddy, what'd you do?
What happened? Are you hurt?
No, I hit another deer.
He said, you know how plentiful deers are. He said, another one run out in front of me.
I didn't mean to wake you up. Look,
He said, I got to go. He was in a big hurry. He was rushing. He didn't want to take time to talk to me that night.
you go back to sleep, all right?
He just left.
I'll see you next weekend.
Okay. Good night, Daddy.
Johnny Knight and Dennis Bellamy. I never seen these boys again. Daddy never said anything about them. They found them in a shallow grave in Prospect. But at the time, I wasn't suspicious, because a lot of people came and, would leave and, I would never see them again. So, I really wasn't concerned or anything because I just figured, that they went back to Charleston. One day, my daddy asked me to go into the trailer to clean it. And I said, sure, Daddy. I didn't go in the trailer maybe 2 or 3 times the whole time that it was there. I go in there and I dust and I wipe stuff down. I opened the closet to put something in the closet, and that's when I found the shoes. And it was a great big old pair of brown and white Oxford shoes. It kind of puzzled me because my daddy had a very tiny foot like I do. I said, no, I know they can't be Daddy's. Daddy's foot's not that big. I knew they were not my dad's shoes. Later that night, I asked him about the shoes.
Daddy, I found these in your closet.
I said, Daddy, whose shoes are those?
They're not yours, are they?
Nope, they're not.
I was getting suspicious. Something was not right.
Well, where'd they come from?
And he told me that refusing someone would give him a pair of shoes 4 sizes too big for him.
What's wrong?
It's just something's been bothering me lately.
I really started thinking, it's not normal for people just to disappear off the face of the earth and never be heard from again.
Don't you find it strange how many people have been going missing around here?
Missing? What do you mean missing?
I said, what is happening? I said, people are disappearing, and, I never see them again. And he just said, they just don't want to come back around here anymore. They were friends, or they moved out of state.
People move on.
Yeah, but it's just that...
Honey, I'm sure everything is fine.
And I said, are you sure, Daddy? And he said, yes. He said, I won't lie to you.
Ain't nothing going on. Let me have these, I'll take care of it.
My daddy had a very quick mind. He had an answer for everything you ever asked him, and he never thought anything about it. Later on, I learned that my daddy had murdered the boy that the shoes belonged to. They were Dennis Bellamy's shoes. I kept saying, no, it can't be her. It can't be her. Please tell me it's not her. why? And it's happening so much. I started thinking, I guess, a little bit more and wondering. One day my daddy came up and I saw a lady and her daddy was standing up in the yard talking. Walter Neely, my daddy's best friend, was there. I'd never seen the woman before. I came out the house. Daddy's back was towards me. He said he was going to fix everything. He knew how to fix it.
I can handle it. Don't worry about nothing.
Are you sure? I can't afford any mistakes, can I?
And as I walked up, they hushed talking. It was like in the middle of a sentence, they just stopped talking.
Hi there.
Shirley? Hey, darling.
I knew he did not want me to hear what they were talking about.
This is a friend of Walter's.
It's nice to meet you. It's nice to meet you, too.
I said, what was y'all talking about? I said, y'all look so serious.
We're helping her with a little... Don't mind us. Why don't you go on inside where it's warm?
Then when I walked off, they stayed there for about 45 minutes, and then they left. Later, I found out this lady was dating this rich farmer. He had gave her a horse and a diamond ring. When they broke up, he wanted his stuff back. And all of a sudden, he's missing. She had hired my daddy to kill her rich ex-boyfriend. My daddy buried him in a shallow grave right behind my house. I never dreamed my daddy was doing any of this. Never. Kim Gillikin was a little 13-year-old girl that, this is very difficult to talk about her, I guess. You know, I'm sorry about all of them, but she was a very special one, very special. My daddy brought her down to the house and said that her mom had died and she didn't have nowhere to stay. And he asked me, could she stay with me for the summer? And I really liked the little girl. She kept saying, please let me stay, please let me stay. And I couldn't say no. Kim always called me Grandmama. She lived with me for the whole summer. She was like a daughter to me.
Okay. All done and pretty as a picture.
But one day, I started washing dishes, and Kim said, well, Grandma, I'm going next door to get something to eat. My mother-in-law lived right there across the yard, so she walked out the door.
Are you coming too?
I'll be over in a few minutes.
Don't take too long.
About 15 minutes, walked over to my mother-in-law's and I asked, I said, where's Kim?
Have you seen Kim? What do you mean? Well, she said she was coming over here for dinner.
Kim's not here. I said, what do you mean Kim's not here? She left the house about 15 minutes ago.
I haven't seen her all day, Shirley.
I was freaking out. I was scared. I was nervous.
Well, you gotta find her.
It was like she just walked out my front door and just vanished into thin air. And so that's when I called my daddy. I said, Daddy, have you seen Kim?
Daddy, I need your help.
He said, I have not seen Kim. I said, Kim wouldn't leave without, telling me, Daddy. I mean, that's one thing I know.
Okay, well, I'll come right over. We'll look for her.
Daddy, we don't have time for that. We gotta call the police.
I said, well, Daddy, I need to call the cops. He said, no, cops. And that kind of raised some suspicions because, I figured he would say, yeah, go ahead and call the cops. We got to find this girl.
I'll be there as soon as I can. Just promise me you won't call anyone.
Okay, but please hurry.
I kept thinking to myself, this is not right. I had to do something. I did call the cops. I reported Kim missing. This was the first moment that I ever went against what my dad said, but I just felt like this was so important, this child missing. And, they kept searching for her, but we couldn't find her. Later on, I found out Kim was buried in a shallow grave right on the other side of my house. My heart's breaking because I'm so close to her. She was like part of my family. She was my daughter. couple of days later, we were all in the backyard, stacking our wood for the winter, and we heard a bunch of car doors slam. As I turned the corner, the yard was full of law enforcement. I mean, they were everywhere.
What's going on over here?
They said, we have a warrant here to search the house for Donald Pee Wee Gaskins. He said, have you seen your daddy? And I said, no, sir, I've not seen my daddy.
I don't understand. Why would you need to search the property?
They said that they suspected him in some murder cases. My heart dropped to my foot. Little things that I did not pay any attention to, it started adding up. The blood on his hand, the people disappearing. It was an awful feeling.
I'm going to need to ask you a few questions.
Sir.
They went into Daddy's trailer and they found a pair of brown and white shoes. I remember hearing one of the officers say, these are one of the boys' shoes. Law enforcement asked me, do you know where your dad is right now? And I said, no, sir. They said, if your daddy comes back, he said, you're to call the Williamsburg Sheriff's Department immediately.
Yes, sir.
My daddy was up in the top of the tree during the whole time they was searching everything, watching them. And after all of them left, he came down. He said, they're just trying to frame me. He said, don't believe what they're saying. He said, I don't want to get into it with you right now. I just got to go. I won't see you for a long, long time. And he left.
I don't have time to talk about it, but just tell the kids I love them.
I knew my daddy was running away. I knew he was trying to escape. It is so hard to know that my daddy murdered all these people. It was November the 20th. I'll never forget that day. It was a couple of weeks after I left my house that night, the last time I seen him.
Good evening, ma'am.
And there was two officers standing at the door.
Your father has been apprehended and taken into custody.
And the officers had told me that they had unearthed some bodies.
He's already shown us where he's buried the bodies.
I was done. I couldn't think straight. I was crying. I was beginning to realize that this was for real. I remember just starting to cry. It was the hardest thing in my life, I think, to really, accept the fact that my daddy was killing these people. That is Walter Neely. After Kim disappeared, they brought Neely in for questioning because they knew that Walter Neely and Daddy was very good friends. He got scared and he just confessed that him and Dad had killed Dennis Bellamy. They arrested my daddy trying to flee out of Sumter in a taxi cab. Daddy right there. He's pointing to a gravesite. And this is where they're digging it up. My daddy had his own private graveyard down in a little town called Prospect, South Carolina. I didn't see my daddy again until his trial. This picture is where they were taking my daddy into the courthouse to be tried. They found my daddy guilty, and he was sentenced to death. started crying. And I couldn't stop crying. My daddy told me that there were a lot more, but nobody would never find them. He said he would go to his grave. He would never tell anybody where the rest of them was. The only one that he ever told me that he was really sorry about was my cousin Janice Faye. But that was the only one that he ever had any regrets about. I feel so ashamed that my daddy did this. I just wish I could change some of this. But I can't. The last day that I got to see Daddy on death row, I told him I loved him very much and I would always love him. And he said, "How can you forgive me?" I said, "Daddy," I said, "I forgive you for everything you've done." I said, "You're my daddy and you are so special to me. I'll always, always love you. Nothing's gonna change that." And then he said, "I love you with all my heart." And that's the last words my daddy ever said to me. Every time I tried to talk about it, I would, break down. But I went to a therapist, and once I got it all talked out, I finally started to heal. What helped me more than anything else through all this here, I went into foster care. I started taking care of other kids. I feel like that, if I can just shed a little bit of love and a little bit back into the world that he took out, maybe things won't be so bad. Person, anybody that can do what he did was evil. But you can't just turn love off and on like a spigot. You love somebody, you love them. And nothing will ever change there. I do love my daddy, and I'll love him for the rest of my life.